Certified Ethical Hacking is a qualification obtained by a person who demonstrates knowledge of assessing the security of computer systems by looking for weaknesses and vulnerabilities in them. They use the same knowledge and tools as a malicious hacker, but in a lawful and legitimate manner. If you're a computer genius with an inquiring mind and a keen interest in delving into the web of unknown security to preserving corporate governance for major institutes, then this is definitely a career for you. Salma Chan is 17 years old and loves watching the Crime Investigation channel. She has a vested interest in cybersecurity and wants to become the CEO of her own cybertech company. She also started the development of her own security app called Cobweb.
Cobweb is a web development website where people are able to access prices and their own design according to their feel of what they want in their business. It's aimed for small businesses and students that are just starting off their small businesses as well. The careers I'm interested in is cybersecurity, engineering if I don't get into that. And if I fail at all, I will become a teacher, study teaching and become a lecturer. So go as far as you have to in what you are doing. Joburg has been hacked quite a few times, and obviously they're inexperienced hackers. So if they're able to hack into our systems, then social services are really poor, and also the security, so I'm willing to change that now. Teaching, I'm passionate about it because I want kids to move on with excellent education and not standard average education. Today is important to me because it's a catalyst to my future. Not leaving school, but obviously carrying on with school. I don't have to try as hard with my IT now because we don't have IT at our school. It's not provided, but this will give me a better opportunity to understand what I do more in depth. I want 48 hours to help me today by giving me the opportunity to be exposed to the best in the business in cybersecurity.
Steve Jump is head of corporate information security governance at Telkom SA. He has a technical background as both an engineering graduate and a chartered engineer. He uses his experience to translate complex technology into serious business.
Thank you, Steve, for giving me this opportunity today. It's highly appreciated. Tell me, how did you get into cybersecurity?
I didn't set out to be in cybersecurity, but there was one event that actually triggered my decision to learn. I was setting up and running an internet service provider. I was actually doing it in Botswana at the time, quite a few years ago. And one of my competitors decided to hack my systems for their competitive advantage. And at that time, I was hacked before I even knew that hacking was possible. So that was my first encounter with information or cybersecurity. And then I set out after that to learn how to stop that from happening, and eventually I got to the stage where I was starting to work on how to teach other people not to get hacked and how to be aware in their businesses.
What qualifications do you need to become a cybersecurity expert?
An IT background, an IT course. Like you can receive qualifications in ethical hacking, operational information security specialist, information security management, information security risk. These are all certifications that look at a narrow aspect of what you do. They're all examined and are part of a professional credential portfolio that you would need to grow through your career.
What skills do you need to go into cybersecurity? Curiosity.
Because cybersecurity is about working out what can go wrong. We deal in terms called vulnerabilities. A vulnerability is something that could be exploited against you.
Yes.
So you have to have the ability to look outside the normal working model and appreciate what can go wrong, and then you need to have the vision to be able to look around and work out, how can I prevent this from going wrong?
What are the highlights of this job for you?
That is really when you have done the job well. If the worst comes to the worst and you have a major event, and everybody knows about it, but you have made it only 5% of the damage that it could have been, that is also still a success. Although, understand, there's a lot of people still looking at you strangely. But the fact is, when you have done what you know could be done and made it work, that is a very gratifying feeling, and that means you've chosen the right career. We've been talking about vulnerabilities, and we've been talking about threats and intelligence. If you'd like to walk with me, we have a couple of people working in that space that will show you exactly how that is done.
Amazing.
Coming up after the break, Salma gets to experience a day in the life of cybersecurity expert in the form of Steve Jump. Before the break, we met student Salma Chan, who wants to become a cybersecurity expert. 48 Hours hooked Salma up with cybersecurity expert Steve Jump, who's about to give her some real-life experience in this career.
Salma, what ESO is going to bring now is, we talked about vulnerability management.
Yes.
So the way we do it is we have a tool that looks for vulnerabilities. What we're going to take you through now is a quick introductory lesson. It's going to be quite brief on how to look for a system and then how to point a scan at it. So we're going to give you a chance to actually see how we set up a scan. Then we're going to run a scan, and we're going to go through the results to see how bad that scan or how good that scan was.
Let's hope it's good.
Just to give you a quick introduction of vulnerability management.
I understand you want to be an ethical hacker, so meaning you want to break systems legally. Our job is normally to guard against people who want to break into our systems illegally. And normally what they use is what we call vulnerabilities, meaning just gaps or exposures within the system. So after ETMLing here, make sure that in the build of the projects, we put all the basic controls in place. We eventually at the end state have to scan those systems and just make sure that all the vulnerabilities are covered. Unfortunately, vulnerabilities are released almost every month, so we have to do continuous scanning. So we just set up an example here of scanning just one system. So if you see, so this is a tool that we use. It's actually distributed across all our networks. So any device that is on the network that we need to scan for vulnerabilities, we can do that. So when you want to set up and use scan, so this is where you'll see a list of all the scans that happened. We actually do, I think, close to more than 200 scans in a month or so. With each scan, unlike a penetration test, you actually try to break. A vulnerability scan, you just find the loopholes, but you don't really try to break those loopholes. I think we are good to go. So then you can just launch the scan. So it's one host. It's gonna tell us when it's queued and then when it's scanned. So most of them, like we say, we normally run it on off-peak time, but most of the time, these times, we actually negotiate them with business to say which one will be your less busy time, and we run the scans there. But it's normally lightweight, so it's not expected to cause any problems to the system, but just as a precaution, then we go through that.
You've seen how we run a scan in an enterprise environment. Now the task I want to set you is for you to run a similar scan, look at the results, and then I want you to come back with a risk assessment. Tell me what are the problems that have been found in that scan, and then you can work with ESO here to tell me how to fix those problems. Okay, thanks.
Wow, this is happening right now. A high intellect, I felt like, should I be doing this? And yes, I should.
Issue explains the mechanics of the vulnerability scanning to Salma, and she's just about to get going.
Okay, Salma, now that you understand how the prioritization of the vulnerabilities works, so yours is actually to look at the report, actually in preparation for your report back to Steve to say how bad things are, and then basically summarize what is the plan to fix all these vulnerabilities. Most of them is going to be recommendations of uninstalling the applications, vulnerable applications that are not necessary, and also most of it is going to be running security patches. So I'll leave you to it. The tip that I need to give you is that focus on the priority 5, 4, and 3. The 2s and the 1s are not really that major at the moment.
Hi Salma, how are you getting on?
I'm done with the task.
So you have something to explain to me?
Yes.
Fantastic.
I found that there was 6, which you said is really bad for severity 5, and 28, which is extremely bad. I think almost had a heart attack there for severity 4. One of these had to have an uninstallment because there's 2 of them. And then in this one, they just needed to be patched up. So updated.
Okay, to make this more exciting for you, we placed some malware, or rather some malware detectable files on there. So this particular item here, this line here, if you just click on that and go through, that would be indicative of some very serious malware that we would never want on a corporate network. So we put it there and our vulnerability scanner detects that. It gives us an alert that you read. Well, it said awaiting reboot. This type of malware is installed from some kind of a carrier, either an email or an infected message. It's in there, it's ready to become active the next time the machine reboots. It's actually a particularly nasty type of ransomware. So were this a real-world experience, this would probably not be the only system that was picking this up, but as a last resort, this would pick it up. You would then be really earning your money because you would need to get that machine off the network as fast as possible. The reason for that is if there's one server that's been misconfigured, there's a real possibility of others. You don't want to take those chances. And network spreading malware is nasty in an enterprise environment because we have tens of thousands of devices on the network. So the smallest of problems is going to be nasty. This was a deliberately difficult test. You recognized all of, in fact, I'm talking to a young lady who's just about to do matric, okay? So your level of perception here is to be congratulated because there are people who do this for a living who would not spot everything that we have put here. The test had tricks, it was not a straight test, and you aced it. So seriously, well done, thank you.
Thank you to you.
Her level of maturity surprised us. The test we set, we made slightly harder than we normally would have done under the circumstances. And to be fair, Salma aced it.
Steve making this challenge a bit harder for me. I felt a bit challenged mentally, I felt that. But obviously I love the challenge that is brought onto me. I work under stress well, and this is why I was able to complete it. I feel really great about that.
Salma, it was a pleasure meeting you today. From the moment you walked through the door, your entire poise and posture and your intellect impressed us. I think that if you apply yourself to the directions you've discussed today, if you're really interested in cybersecurity, the only limit to your progress is going to be yourself, because I believe you have all the capabilities you need to succeed in this space.
Coming up after the break, Salma meets Nithen Naidoo, cybersecurity expert and founder of Snode Technologies, a cybersecurity and intelligence firm. He's going to give Salma the ins and outs of creating a career for herself in the cybersecurity space. Welcome back. Before the break, we met Salma, a high school student who wants a career in cybersecurity. 48 Hours introduced her to mentor Steve Jump, who took her through the paces working as a cybersecurity expert for a huge organization. Now we introduce her to technopreneur Nithen Naidoo, who founded his own company called Snode Technologies, offering intelligence and security solutions to South Africa and the rest of the world. First, let's catch up with Salma about her first day on the job.
I've had an amazing first day on 48 Hours. And just as I thought that it couldn't get better, they hooked me up with a real go-getter. Today I hope to learn from Nithen Naidoo how to successfully secure hosts on websites and Android applications. Come with me.
So my name is Nithen Naidoo. I'm the CEO and founder of Snode Technologies. What we do is we have both people and technology, which we provide to business in the form of products and services. And it's all SA homegrown technology, right from the hardware through to the software. I kind of fell into cybersecurity coming out of university. I spent the early part of my career in the ethical hacking space. And I worked for some of the prestigious, like, South African firms. Got to travel all over the world, breaking into banks, breaking into all these big institutions. Fast forward a few years, I set up my own cyber consulting business. One of the technologies that was born out of that business is Snode, which is the technology and the firm and the services built around the technology that I run today. I always had a passion for innovation, so I always wanted to tinker with technology and try and do things that others weren't doing. That passion flowed through everything. I liked art, I liked science, I liked music. That sort of eclectic experience allows me to take aspects of physics, aspects from, artists, aspects from design, and it all culminates into how we solve problems in a unique way at Snode.
Thank you, Nithen, so much for having me here today.
It's a pleasure.
I wanted to find out what motivated you to start your own business.
I was working, and as much as it was fun defending a bank, the truth of the matter is I wanted to use my skills in a bigger and wider way. I really enjoyed what I did. I actually really enjoyed the bank where I worked. But I felt I could do more. I also felt the burning desire to do something that was new and different.
How long ago did you take the steps to start your business?
It was about 10 years ago. I was young enough to take the risk because I had no family, I wasn't married, I was single. I was young enough to take the risk, and I knew if I wasn't going to do it at that particular point in time, I may never get the opportunity to do it again. I took whatever I had saved over the few years that I was working, and very quickly worked through all that cash. And just fought my way from there.
How and when did you get your big break in this industry?
So I never got any big breaks. It was slow iterations. I put one step in front of the other, one foot in front of the other, and I just took a step towards my vision. That's really important, is that one, you have a vision. Number two is then to have a plan and milestones on how do you get to that point. And then don't be stuck to it, right? You must allow yourself the ability to pivot and react to, external circumstance. And then just put your head down and do the work. It's a little bit like a duck floating on the water. You just see the duck floating, but underneath the water surface, I'm paddling like man-possessed.
Now that Salma knows more about entrepreneurship in the cybersecurity industry, she's ready to pitch her idea to Nithen.
Speaking about hard work, I wanted to pitch an idea to you about my business. So Cobweb is the business idea that I had. It's aimed for small-scale students that are starting up their business or small businesses that are just starting up. Now I wanted to put in a feature into this application or website that allow security when businesses are starting off, to eliminate all high-risk problems when getting the security later on when their business is booming. I would like to pitch to you that you buy 50% of the equity, so half of the business, in return of 65% of capital.
So let me understand. So I understand your target market.
Yes.
What is the problem, the sole problem that you're trying to solve, cybersecurity?
Well, it's web development, so creating websites for new businesses, as well as the cybersecurity, eliminating attacks from the beginning through hosts and servers.
What's your unique selling point?
Well, to start off, we aim it at younger kids and young, smaller businesses. So we encourage them at cheaper prices to start off and make their businesses go ahead.
The problem I have with price being the unique value proposition or the main selling point is what stops your competitors from just adjusting their price and being as cheap as you are?
I have thought about that, which was a challenging question that I still ask myself now.
You've got to have a more unique selling point. One of the unique selling points, and I'm just thinking off the top of my head, is if you hosted everybody in the same cloud ecosystem and you're allowed B2B transactions and you facilitated those B2B transactions. So if you were part of that ecosystem, the B2B transactions there would be cross-selling, cross-pollination of products, maybe value-added services on top of other products. You want the customer to win, and you want your clients to win, and you want to win in the same transaction. And for me, that's the area on your idea where you need to focus. I love the name. I love the idea, actually. My biggest problem is what makes this idea unique and what gives you an unfair advantage. I don't think you need my money. I think you can do this without the money. And I would rather see you succeed 100% your own equity than, own half of your business, knowing that I don't add any value to the equation.
The feedback that I've gotten was very insightful, helpful, and I will take that home with me.
We've come to the end of a jam-packed 48 hours, but we'd like to do something that makes life just a wee bit better for Salma.
My team wanted to give you a few items for coming to visit us.
You didn't have to.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. And, we'd like to encourage you to come visit us again. So much so that what we'd like to offer you is an internship for you to come down to Snode and for us to help you with your idea, help you solidify your idea, get your MVP up and running, and let's see what we can do for you.
Thank you so much.
I have a second surprise for you.
You're kidding, right?
No, I'm not. As a matter of fact, I have it right here on this video.
Hi Salma, we know that you wanted to host your website on the internet, and we know that you've not been able to. So to help you out with your aspirations of being a cybersecurity guru and a web hosting diva, we thought it would be the least we could do to offer you a super user hosting package, a 12-month contract for a web hosting package on the internet. We hope you will enjoy it, and we hope you will use it to its utmost potential.
You guys are joking, right? I'm quite thankful. I was lost for words and emotions. I'm really grateful for everything that I've gotten. I would just like to thank 48 Hours and everybody that was involved in getting me here. I really appreciate everything that you've done for me.
If you want to be part of the 48-hour experience, contact us on our social media page. If you're interested in more careers, make sure to go to our YouTube page and get inspired.